Hey there guys, welcome to the video. My name is Pushpinder Gill, and in this video we're going to be talking about costs, revenues and profit. So this is the first video on cost, revenues and profit. We're going to be covering up the whole syllabus. Now before we get started, this is a website address, that is perfect-scores.com. Don't forget to explore this website, and this would be our Facebook page to give us your valuable like. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, guys, right? So let's start by explaining what is short run. Before I do that, I'm going to take an example, right? So I'm going to start with an example. That example is that let's suppose there is a firm, right? And this firm is actually producing, let's say, toys, right? So there's a firm and this firm is producing toys and it has three factors of production, right? So I'm going to broadly classify three factors of production. Let's suppose the first factor of production is land, the second is labor, and the third is capital. So land will actually mean, the land that they have, they'll be paying fixed rent on that. So that actually comprises land. And labor on the other side would comprise the human resource that they have. So this would comprise the human resource. And we have the capital that comprises of machinery, of anything related to capital, plus that will also involve the money that they're investing. So these are the three factors of production that this firm has. Now what happens is that some of these factors are going to be fixed. So some of these factors are going to be fixed for a certain time period, right? They're going to be fixed for a certain time period. Now why is that? Because during a certain time period, let's suppose if you buy, let's suppose 10 machines, if you buy 10 machines, right, you're not going to be buying those 10 machines for the next year, right? You'll be working on these 10 machines initially, right? So these number of machines are kind of fixed for a certain time period. Even let's suppose talk about labor, right? So labor, again, if let's suppose you've hired XYZ amount of people, you're not going to be hiring very soon. So again, labor is also fixed for a certain amount of period, right? And similarly, land is a fixed uh, factor of production. By the way, these are the factors of production, right? So land is kind of a factor of production which is fixed for a longer period of time, because if you buy a land and you start your firm, the chances are that you're going to be buying new land and starting off another firm. They're very rare, and that happens after you've reached a certain level of output or certain level of production, right? So what happens is some of these factors are going to be fixed for a certain period, right? And from here, I define what is called the short run time period for a firm. Now, what do you mean by short run time period of a firm? So short run is that time period. So I'll just give you the definition of short run, right? So suppose you've understood everything here. So I'll give you the definition probably in a different color, right? So the short run, the short run is that time period, right? So that is the definition of short run. It's that time period in which, at least one factor of production, is fixed. So short run is the time period in which at least one factor of production is fixed, right? So that is what you mean by short run, that at least one of these is fixed. That means either machines or labor or land, or two of them or all three of them are fixed. That is actually what we mean by short run, right? So let's take for an example that land, it's kind of fixed for a certain time period. Let's suppose it's kind of fixed for a year. You plan to buy another land in the next year. For that 1 year, you are in a short run, right? So let's suppose you're not planning to hire any person for the next 1 month, right? So that 1 month is another short run. So a firm is actually under a lot of short runs, and it is simultaneously in different short runs at the same time, right? So you can't say that a short run is actually a unique time period. A company can be in simultaneous short runs all the time. So I suppose you're understanding this, guys. Now another important thing is that all the production takes place in the short run, right? So all the production takes place in the short run. So that's again very important, I think, which is pretty self-explanatory, that all the all the production takes place in short run, right? So you produce your toys, if I talk about the previous example, in short run only, because when you produce something, at least one of the factors is fixed, right? All the factors are not variable, they cannot vary, right? So at least one of the factors have to be fixed. And how do you determine the length of a short run, right? So how do you determine length of a short run? Well, that would actually be equal to, so let me just get my color back. So length of a short period would actually be the time taken, it would be the time taken by the firm, right, to vary the fixed factor, right? So to vary or to change the fixed factor, or factors which are, they're fixed in the short run. So the time taken by the firm to increase or to change the quantity of the fixed factor would actually be, would be the length of that particular short run. So let's say, for example, I talk about the firm, wherein it produces toys, right? And right now it is not, the firm has 10 machines to make toys, and it cannot afford another one. Let's suppose, after a year's operation, it is able to get one more machine, one extra machine, after 1 year. So that 1 year is the time taken to come out of this short run of 10 machines into this short run of 11 machines, right? So that is what we mean by short run. Right. So let's talk about the long run. Now, what do you mean by long run? Now, this is going to be very easy for you to understand. Now, long run is the time period. So long run is that time period. Again, I'm writing down because so that you understand that it's kind of natural. The long run is that time period in which all the factors of productions are variable. So all the factors of production are variables, means you can vary them. There is nothing fixed. No factor of production is fixed. Everything is, you can change everything according to you. So what do you do in long run? So since all production takes place in short run, similarly all planning takes place in the long run, right? Because when you plan, you kind of plan, that's, let's suppose I'm today I'm starting a firm, I want to produce toys. Let's suppose in the coming 5 years I plan to, add another firm and add more, in fact, add more machines, add more labor. So you can actually plan a lot because all the factors are variable. Nothing is actually fixed. Fine. So that is what is the meaning of the short run, and that is what is the meaning of the long run. Now let's go ahead and define some of the important terms which are going to be pretty important going forward. The first thing is total product. So what do you mean by total product? So total product is nothing but it's the total output. It's the total output that the firm produces, right? So it's the total output that the firm produces. Pretty simple, right? So let's suppose I'm producing, 10 units of product every day. So 10 is my total product for that day, right? So that is there. And how do you produce your total output? What helps you in producing your output is the factors of production, right? So if you increase your factors of production, let's say you hire more people, buy more machines, you get more land. So if you increase the factors of production, your total output is going to increase, and that is, I'm talking about in the short run. So this is what I mean by total product. Now, since this is total product, what we can do is let's define average product. So what do you mean by average product? It's actually equal to the total product, right? So the total product divided by each unit of the variable factor, divided by the number of units of the variable factor. All right, right, and this. right? So the number of units of variable factors. So if I were to talk about definition, it's the output produced, is the total output produced per unit of the variable factor, right? So let's say, for example, I'm actually producing, so let's suppose if this is, let's suppose, the labor, so this is the labor that I'm using, right? So let's suppose I do not use any labor, right? So what's the total product that I'm producing? So the total product is zero, isn't it, right? So I'm not producing any labor, so the total product is zero. Let's suppose I employ one person and he produces 10 units of toys, so he produces 10 toys. So I'm talking about toys here. So what is the average product here? That is 10 over 1, that is 10, right? And let's suppose I have two factors of production. Let's suppose I employ another guy and we're able to produce 25 toys. So what's my average product? That's going to be 25 by 2, that is 12.5, right? So average product is nothing but the total product divided by the total number of variable factors employed. So suppose you're understanding this point over here, what is average product? Now the next thing is the marginal product. So what do you mean by marginal product? So marginal product, so I'll talk about the mathematical definition and the normal definition as well. So marginal product, it is the extra output. So it's the extra output that you produce. So that is produced by employing, so that is produced by employing one more unit of variable factor, by employing one more unit of variable factor. Let's take an example here, right? So let's use the previous table only. When I'm employing one labor, right? When I'm employing one labor, my total product is 10. And when I'm employing two laborers, when I'm employing two people, the total product is 25. So what's my marginal factor here? Marginal product. Marginal product is the extra output that you produce. So how much extra output am I producing? 15. When I employ one more unit of variable factor. So I'm actually employing one more unit of variable factor. So my marginal product here is actually 15. So it's simply like, if I hire one more guy, what's the change in my total product? So marginal product is nothing but the change in the total product divided by the change in the variable factor. Or simply stating, marginal product is the change in the total product divided by the change in the variable factor. So that is what marginal product is, right? So I suppose you're understanding this point over here. Let's actually go ahead and take an example here, right? Let's suppose I employ no person. So this is the labor, right? And if I'm employing no person, the total product is 0. My average product is 0. Let's suppose I hire another guy, right? If I hire another guy, I'm able to produce 10 products, right? And my average product is 10 by 1, so that is 10. And what is my marginal product? My marginal product by hiring another guy, it's 10 minus 0, which is actually equal to 10. Let's suppose I hire another guy, right? And right now my my total product becomes 25. Now understand, total product is actually going to increase. So I'm just going to do it like this here. I'm going to just extend it till 5. And this over here is going to be 45, 70, and 90. Right? Let's do a little more. Right? So this is going to be 105 and let's say 115. I'm just giving some random numbers because the total product has to increase when you increase your labor. So I've just given these random numbers. Now what is this? This is 25, this is 2, so this is 12.5, because average product is total product divided by the quantity. This is 45 over 3, which is 15. This is 70 over 4, which is 17.5. This is 18. This is this is 90 over 5 is 18. Then you have 105 over 6, that is again 17.5. 115 over 7, round about 16.4, right? So that's what it is. And what's the marginal product here? Marginal product here, so that's 2.5, right? And sorry, it's marginal product is not 2.5, it's the distance here. So 10 to 15, it's 15. 25 to 45, it's 20. then you have 45 to 70 is 25, then you have 70 to 90 it's 20, then you have 90 to 105 it's 15, and you have 105 to 115 it's 10, right? So suppose this table is pretty clear to you the way I have done this. So what I did was I just assumed this and this were pretty much derived on their own, right? So I suppose you're understanding this. Now if I were to plot these graphs, so if I were to plot these graphs, let's suppose I want to plot the graph of the total product, right? So I want to plot the graph of total product with respect to the quantity of variable factor involved. So the quantity of the variable factor, right? So this factor, as you can clearly see, as the quantity of the variable factor increases, my total factor also increases. So it's going to be like, something like this, as my quantity of the total factor increases, my total product is actually going to increase. So it's kind of a curve going upward. Now, these things are pretty much derived. So let's see what do I get here. So let's actually plot let's suppose this is the total product and this is the quantity of labor employed. So how is this average product and marginal product gonna look like, right? So let's suppose this is 10, and let's suppose this is 20, and let's suppose this is 30. So if you look at the average product, it actually starts from zero. So average product starts from zero when this is zero. Well, let's not talk about this point. So it starts from 10, 12.5, 15, and 17.5 and 18. So till 5, it increases, right? So 10, 12.5. So let's suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So till 5, what happens? It increases. So starting from 10 till 5, at 5 it's 18. So it's actually going to increase. So it's going to be about 18 at 5. So it's increasing till here, right? So let's suppose this is 18. Okay. So what happens after that? After that, it actually goes to decrease. So after that, it again decreases. So this is the point of inflection, the point at which the average product goes and decrease. Now let's go ahead and try to plot the marginal product. Let's see how it behaves. Now you can clearly see the marginal product. It's again increasing at 10, 15, 20, 25, and 20. So that means between 4 and 5, again, which is at 5, it is having the inflection point, right? So what happens is that for the marginal product, okay, so it's actually going to start decreasing from here, right? Because after that it decreases. So between 3 and 4, what is going to happen? So let's suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Between 3 and 4 is going to have its highest point, which is actually kind of 25. So what happens? It starts from 10, it starts from kind of the same point, 10, and it goes up till 25. So it goes up till 25, and after that what happens? It starts to decrease. So it starts to decrease. But if you can clearly see, average product is 18 at 5, right? And the marginal product, it's for between 4 and 5 it's 20. So between 4 and 5 it's 20, and between 5 and 6 it's 15. So that means it's going to be somewhere around 18 between 4 and 5. So that means it's going to meet the average product at somewhere around 5. So which is, let's say, which is actually going to be this inflection point. So this is going to be my marginal product. So that is how we actually, so I'll just explain it again. What happened was we actually tried to plot the average product. Now you can actually do it with any data. I'll give you an exercise. Take out a notebook, write down 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, write down total product, any number, but in an increasing order, right? So it should be increasing. And then calculate this and calculate this. Every time you will get the same graph. Every time the same is going to happen. So over here you have your average product, which started from 10, ended at 16.4. And at the number equal to 5, it was actually dipping, right? And what happened to the marginal product? It started at 10. At this point, it was the maximum. Then it started to decrease. So then it went on decreasing, and this is what the marginal product became, right? And they were actually equal to each other at a certain point. And that point is actually, it's not going to be always this point. It's going to be somewhere around this point. And Yeah, so it's actually, if I were to draw it pretty much more thoroughly, yeah, it's gonna be above 5 here. Yeah, that's what it is, right? So somewhere around 4 and 5, it's gonna meet the average product, which is why this is how it dips. So if I were to generalize and draw the curves, so this is my total product. So let's get the white color done. So let's say this is my total product and I have this as the y-axis, this as the x-axis, right? And this is the quantity of variable factor, this is the total factor. So the total factor is actually going to go, so since it's written with yellow, I'll use the yellow color. So the total factor is going to go something like this. It's going to increase, right? So this is the total product. And then when we talk about the average product, right? So when we talk about the average product, it's actually going to be something like, it's going to be something like this, right? This is going to be the average product. And if I talk about the marginal product, let me just choose another color, right? So the marginal product is going to be something like, it's going to increase like this, and when it decreases, it's going to cut the marginal product. So this is going to be my marginal product. Fine. So this is how the graphs are going to be. So I suppose you're understanding this point over here, guys. So thank you very much for watching this video. And this would be our web address, that is perfect-scores.com. This would be our Facebook page to give us your valuable like. And this would be our email address to give us your valuable feedback. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about the law of diminishing returns, in which we see how we interpret this graph and come out with some pretty important generalizations. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.